Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidparam. Om Badram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Badram Pashye Makshabiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stushtovagam Sastanobhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vidzashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti nastarkshyo arishtanemihi Swasti no brihaspatirdadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's start from verse number 13. Gata sambrutamakasham niyamane ghatayata gato niyetanakashah tata jivo namo mamah gadavat vividhakaram vidyamanam punah punah tadbhagnam na cha janati sajanati cha nityashah. This concept of space being all pervasive and that all pervasive space remains irrespective of movement of the part. Earlier verse said Gata samvritam akasham niyamane gateyata. Sorry, that is the verse where said 13. As the part is moved, the space does not move, which is to say, the all-pervading presence of the space has no effect, nothing to do with anything that happens to the pot. Pot is here only. This pot. Inside there is space. Outside there is space. Where is side screen view? I don't have. That's exactly the problem. I did that because show me what's wrong there. I know. This is you made this. I do not understand what this is. Everybody is coming here. Huh? Oh, that's okay. Don't do it. I have removed it. Already. Can't help it. So the space inside and outside is called Gata Akasha, then Maha Akasha outside. So the space inside and space outside outside and inside are only with respect to this part. It's important to understand this. Probably the Shankaracharya and great masters always had a pot next to them to explain this. As the pot moves, is there anything that happens to the space? Nothing. In the same way, Atman is in and out, and it is in and out, it is referred only with respect to the body and the mind. Mind feels as though the Atman is somewhere sitting inside. That's what Eka eva gudhatma. Bhute bhute vyavastitaha. Ekada bahuda chaiva. Drishyate jalachandravat. That is earlier verse I said that. So gudaha, it is said it is hidden. But actually it is not hidden. If you look at where is space hidden, can you hide space? You can hide in space, but you cannot hide space. So here, even as the pot moves, there is no movement of the space. This is to say, even as the mind moves, there is no movement of consciousness. And this movement of the mind is what is referred as the mind. Movement of the consciousness is what is referred as the mind. What is the movement of the mind? There is no real there is nothing called a mind which is moving, or there is nothing called a particular nature of consciousness that is moving. If you look at it carefully, appearance of the thought and disappearance of the thought is movement. From thought A, appearance, and that is replaced by thought B. It appears like we have moved from A to B, is it not? But actually there is no movement, because you are conscious of A and you are conscious of B. Where is the movement? But if you see in the Christmas time, etc., when the light is, we might have seen some dog running or the cat running, etc. They show actually nothing is running. On, off, on, off, on, off, isn't it? A set of lights on, and another movement, another set of lights on, off, another movement, say set of light, let us say this set of lights are on. Then this is off, the next set of lights coming. That is off, next light off. So what happens is look like it's moving. But there's no movement. It's only on, off. Similarly, thoughts do not move. Our attention also doesn't move. But because of the phenomena of on and off, there is an appearance of movement. This is the reason why Buddhism has said when there is a gap between on and off, there is shunya. So the shunya is the nature. This is their kind of understanding. But then when A is off and B is on, and B is off and C is on, what knows B is off and C is on? And C is on and B is off? B is off? See, movement takes place, but there is one awareness which knows that set of A is on and set of B is off. Then set of B is on, A is off. If you can think about that way, Alada Chakra, as we saw last time, when you move the glowing stick, there is an appearance of a circle, but there is no circle. Again, here also, the stick is moving from point A to point B to C, D, E, F, G, H, like that. So you are looking at A, the movement, you're not looking at the movement, you're looking at B. So between A and B, your mind, your brain is thinking, then there is a connection. This delay in the process makes it appear that there is a circle there. Because the delay, it records point A, point B, point C, point D, E, F, G, H, Therefore, there is an appearance of connection between all these dots. There is no actual connection. Similarly, thought A and B has no connection. They are only appearance and disappearance, appearance and disappearance. But because of our because of our reference to memory, we think there is a connection between thought A, B, C, D, E. Every moment there is a new thought arising, but because we refer to the past, a memory, there is a connection you bring. So here the point is that when the point A to point B, the part moves, there is no movement of consciousness. In the same way, when thought A to B to C to D, there is no real connection. But because of the attention from A, as soon as it is over. So the point is that, very important point that we have to know, there is a dispute in this particular concept. There is no simultaneous two thoughts at the same time possible. Because where is your attention? If your attention is on many thoughts, or even two thoughts, what stops you from having three thoughts? What stops you having from four thoughts? What stops you having 100 thoughts at the same time? But that is not possible, because where is your awareness? Attention cannot be in 1,000. It can be quick. Ashtavadanis, you might have heard them. Ashtavadanis, Dashavadanis, Shadavana means 100 things they can pay attention at the same time. Have you heard about them? So that is, one person will be singing. This person must be an expert in everything. One person is singing, somebody else. Another person is touching him with a leaf like this, or a small feather. And third person may be ringing a bell. Fourth person may be asking him to create a poem. Fifth person may be asking him to do something else. So he will do it at the same time. He's singing this ragam. Your third touched me fourth time. And that the bell is ringing fifth time. And I will take next word I will tell you about the poetry. He'll create poetry at the same time while he is aware of all others. This possible. There are many people in India who have Shatavadanis, Ashtavadanis. So Shatavadan means 100 things he will be able to pay attention. So this is a question of how alert is the mind. It doesn't mean the consciousness can be at the same time 1,000 ways. It's because of the quickness of the brain. So here, like your computer also, it cannot be it's on or off. That's all it is. But how speed? That's the speed of the CPU. What do you call it? The clock. Clock? I don't know. I have the technical understanding of that. So Intel, but then Intel inside this, Intel inside, idiot outside. So that's the same thing. Intel inside means how intelligent it is. How much of information it can store and recover. Anyway. So, Gatavat Sambritam Akasham, Gata Sambritam Akasham, Niyamane Gateyata, Gato Niyata Nakashaha, Tata Jivaha Napa Ubamaha. Upamaha means equal to Samaha, Sadrshaha. Now, Jivaha Akasha Sadrshaha, it is said. But Akashaha is not conscious. Example is given only for all pervasive nature of the space, but space is not alert, awareness. So therefore, next verse said, Gatavat Vividakaram Vidyamanam Punapunaha. Gatavat, like the pot, Vivida Akaram forms. So here you should not take body, you should take thought. Vivida Akaram, Vivida Vrittaya. Vidyamanam Punapunaha. When they appear and disappear, Tad Bhagnam Nabaha na janati, akashaha na janati, sa atma janati nityashaha. Atma is aware of appearance of the thought, disappearance of thought. Appearance of the thought, disappearance of the thought. But if it has to be aware of the disappearance, that means what? It is there constantly before the rise of the thought, during the thought, and the disappearance of the thought. So it doesn't move, it doesn't change. But because of our unawareness of this nature of consciousness, as the thought rises, our consciousness is limited to that thought that is called mind. And as soon as thought A disappears, there is appearance of B. Therefore, we are again, our attention is on B. So we think mind is real. Because at any point of time, there is one thought arising. I mean, one thought is always present. So one thought or the other. A, B, or C, or D, or E, F. And what happens then when you go to sleep? Slowly, thoughts intensity stops. The momentum of the thoughts is stopped. The swiftness with which the A is replaced by B, by C, D, E is stopped. Slowly. So A is there, and the next one, B, comes little slow. And then C, much slower. D, slower. E, slow. Sleep. Now, where are we? Because we did not have the awareness of our own self, only aware of the thoughts. As the thoughts disappear, we go back to the state of not knowing. Aham kimapi na janami. That is a state. That is a sleep. Whereas, when one recognizes, even while the thought is present, I am not this thought, I am the awareness. Who is aware of this thought? When you practice this, what happens? When A disappears and B has not yet come, you don't disappear. And when we have many thoughts continuously coming, we cannot practice this attention upon the awareness because thoughts are overwhelming. By habit, we are identifying with every thought so strongly. Therefore, the suggestion that is given is kshanaihi uparamet. Slowly reduce your thought. Buddhya, with your attention, meaning being you with your viveka buddhya, dhriti grihitaya, holding clearly on the consciousness. Atma samstam manakrutva, paying your attention on the self. Then what? You have to come to a point, na kinchita bichintayet. Then don't bring a new thought. Pay attention to the self, not bring a new thought. But if it will come because of the habit, it will come. Pay attention to the subject. No, I'm not the thought, the self. I'm not the thought, the consciousness. So when you do not pay attention to the thought, then the thought doesn't multiply. If you pay attention to the thought, what happened? Yesterday we had a picnic. We were sitting there and having a good time. Suddenly one person got up, my dog. My dog is at home. So once the thought comes, you cannot stop it. What is it doing? It's not eating. What will happen? Oh, I have to go. Hey, one thought has come, it will go to the next thought. Then second, third, and then you cannot stay quietly, restless. Yeah. It happens to her in the class also. I know whether I close the door at all or not. I don't even think that I have locked the. So So why it is happening to us is, while we are at the act, we are not there. If we are there, we are locking, I am locking. Some people are like that. I am locking the door, closing. So they will repeat it so that they would not, later on, they will not regret. We went, myself and Kiran, once we took hire a van somewhere. You may remember that person. Very funny. We went there, and then that person was saying to himself what he's doing. There's no need to do that. I'm now keeping the paper here. I'm signing it here, and this is the paper. We have nothing to do with that, but we were only people who were standing and watching. This is the paper. This is paper for hiring the van, but this is for 3 hours and 4 hours, and then after 4 hours, and then this is the paper for you. So we said, and he has signed it, and then now I'm taking it. You remember that? I was wondering why is he saying all these things? But it is good, even if you don't tell vocally, but keep it in your mind. Some people have to practice that. Then only, otherwise they will, I don't know whether I locked it or not. You said it to yourself that you locked, so it's locked.
The problem is that you don't know when you said it.
Anyways, so when we are not there while we are doing the act, later on we will doubt it. So when you are sitting in one place, you are not, if you say a thought has arisen, okay, let it be so, then it won't repeat. But when you can't do that, then it requires our attention. Again it'll come. Again it'll come. After that, it will push away all other thoughts and it will stand there. Dog. Then you have to get up and do something about it. Thank God. If it is God, it will be better. Where is God? My God, where is God? What is he doing? It will be better. You become Bhakta. So, here, the Tadbhagnam na janati, the disappearance of the part or destruction of the part, na janati akashata. Akasha na janati. Parantu janati nityashaha. See, the point is always. What do you mean by always? Appearance of the disappearance of the thought, the Atman knows always. Meaning, even the total appearance of thoughts in the sleep also it is knowing. Nityashaha. That is why you're able to wake up and recall that. Yes, there was no thought at that time. I know it. How do you know? Because you are not like space, immute, achetana. You are pretty much aware of the fact that you didn't have thought, because you are aware of your own ignorance as well. What thought I had during the sleep, aham kimapi na janami, that also you know. That also you are aware. If you are only thought, then you will not know that. If there is no thought, where are you then? Were you there yesterday in the program? No. What happened there? How do I know? I was not there. So if you are a thought, you would not know you slept. Because you are very aware that the absence of thought was there, even though I was present to know the absence, but not as a thought. Therefore, when I recall, there is no particular akara the mind will take. Because for akara to take place, the particular form has to take place, there must be some amount of information available there with respect to its peculiarities. I see a person A and person B distinctly because I can see the difference in characteristics. Right? Similarly, when I try to recall what happened in sleep, I cannot recall a particular akara form because it is not able to distinguish. There is no distinguishing feature there between thought and absence of thought. Only one distinguishing feature. It is not there. So what do you describe as sleep? No thought. Describe nothing. I cannot explain anything. Why? Because anirvachaniya maya. There's nothing to describe there. There is no particular characteristics I can talk about. Now, so what happens is, because of the state of deep ignorance that we have in sleep, we are not able to comprehend the nature of our consciousness in the state of sleep. Also, here we'll find in the next verse beautifully explains, Shabdamayavruto naiva tamasayadi pushkare binne tamasi chaikatvam eka evanupashyati Shabdamayavruto naiva tamasayati pushkare binne tamasi chaikatvam ekamevanupashyati. Shabdamaya avrutaha pushkare. Shabdamaya. Shabdam, sound. So everything in this world, please pay attention, everything in this world can be known by the name. Every form I must have an associated name. And when I utter that particular name, the akara comes to your mind. If I have uttered a name or a sound for which you have no relevant reference, nothing will happen in your mind. Katapadamati. Have you seen? Now, what is it? I can hear the sound, but I cannot recognize anything. Why? Because you are not able to associate the sound with the form. Now, but if I say fan, you remember a particular fan, not necessarily what I remember as fan, you may remember. But the fan need not necessarily have to be in your mind with the name. You may remember fan. But you don't, I'm remembering fan. You don't say that. Do you? But you know that it is fan. Subtly you know that it is fan. That's why children have to be told with the form, show the form. Apple. So the child recognizes that shape, the color, the structure, and associates with that word. Apple. So you show the mango. What is it? Because the child knows this is not apple. Because apple doesn't look like this. So now you see the name and form are so connected. And what do we know about the world? The world is known to us only in the form of thought. Right? And every form that we have known is associated with sound. So that is why it is said, Shabdamaya. Now, if I tell you the word Brahman, what comes to your mind? Brahma. Nothing. Why? Because we have not seen. There is no objectification. There's no way to objectify this. But everything else that is of the world, there is always an associated name. And only with the name we know it. How do we refer to the memory? Always with the name. When I look at a person whom I have seen long time back, if I'm not able to recollect that person name, but I know that person. But then he refers to his name. You don't remember me? And then he tells the name. Immediately there is a connection. Yes. So, Shabdamaya Vrutaha. The whole world is none other than the world of sound. So, and see, world illusion. That is what Guruji translated that. The illusion of world. Shabdamaya. Tamasayadi pushkare. And due to that Shabdamaya, na eva tamasayati. He comes not to know because of that very darkness created by that Maya. What is this darkness here? This is ajnanam. That's why Bhagavan has said very clearly that tena muhyanti jantavaha. What is that tena muhyanti? Jnanetna tu tat ajnanam yesham nashidamatamah. Only by knowledge that ajnanam can be removed. Light alone can remove the darkness. The darkness is always associated with avidya. Because darkness does not have a particular origin point and end point. Apparently, when you say dark, where is it starting? I think from there. You cannot say that because if you go further, there will be further darkness. If you go outside this space, outside this earth, where do you see that starting point of darkness? There's no starting point of darkness. Anadi, avidya. Beginningless. When does it end? Oh, when you only bring the light. When the light is brought, then there is an end of it. In the same way, Anadi Maya Avrataha, Shabda Maya Avrataha, Na Eva Tamasa Yadi Pushkare. In the space of consciousness, Nayadi. Pushkara here means the space of consciousness. Now you see, if you are in the middle of a deep forest where middle of the night, completely dark, do you know what is there? You cannot recognize A from B or C or D. This is table, this is chair, or this is one tree and another tree in the middle of the forest. You cannot see anything because it is as though whole thing is covered with the darkness of light because there is no light there. So you cannot even know the direction. If you are made to row, some people do swing that person. Okay, now which is south, which is north, which is east, and which is west? Tell me. Only up and down I know. Which is east? Which is north? Which is south? How will you know? In darkness, you will not know which is south and north. Why? Because light, when it is there, sunlight is there, then you say, oh, you can assume. But otherwise, that's why the compass also always showing north, right? Because with that only you will know which is south, east, west, north. Otherwise, if that goes berserk, that's what happens when sometimes with that, this is not working properly. The ships get wrecked. Why? Because we don't know which direction we are going. In the middle of the sea, how do you know? And clouds are completely covering. Now you do not know where the sun is. And the compass only can point out where is north. Then you know, okay, this side is I have to go. So in the same way, Shabdamaya Vrutaha Tamasayadi Pushkari Binne Tamasi. At the time when the destruction of the darkness of ignorance takes place, Ekatvam, that oneness between oneself and the absolute truth, Eva Anupashyati, that alone one comes to see that. So now you see, with the ignorance that we are in the state of sleep, and with that state of no object that is disturbing, no thought that is disturbing, it is similar to the state of samadhi, no doubt. But because there is no awareness of the self, even though there are no other objects to disturb you, you still cannot know the self. Some people say, oh, sleep is better than that. Swamiji, no disturbance, no thought, no emotion, peaceful. Where are you? In absolute darkness. In that darkness, one may find no disturbance, but that is not recognition of the self. In samadhi, you come to have a withdrawal of all the objects and thoughts, etc., just as similar to that of sleep, but knowingly, willingly, consciously, awarefully, attentively. So that is why it is said that even though it appears very close to sleep, Sushupti and Samadhi, they appear so close to each other with respect to the fact that there is no thought disturbances. But one is aware, awake, another one is not. One in which he says Om, another he says, that's the difference. The difference is that one will make the sound like that of a donkey, another is he roars like a lion. See, when the light appears at the beginning of the day, when the sunlight appears, suddenly you find that which I found it as no direction, darkness, you will see the space spread all over. Isn't it? Which earlier it was filled with darkness where you have no direction you can see. Now when the sunlight appears in the east, suddenly you will find the expansion of the space. In the same way, when that knowledge takes place, you can see the expansion of consciousness. That is why it is said, Ekatvameva anupashyati. There is no more two. There is no more three or four. Ekatvam. One space of consciousness spread everywhere. At the present moment, when I go to sleep, I think that I am the only person who is there. As you go into the dream state and then go to the sleep, not aware of anything. And when I wake up, I am awake. I am awake, but I am not aware of the fact that the space is always awake. I mean, the awareness is always there, awake only. That knowledge is not there with me. I am awake, I am going to sleep. Isn't that? So as though you are awake, earlier you were asleep, not aware of the fact that you are always aware, mind is gone to sleep, mind is awake. Because we are associated with only the mind, therefore, the mind is awake, there are others who are sleeping. Other minds are sleeping. No. Whereas that's what we realize, we come to think, but a person who has gained that total awareness, abidance, when he wakes up from the sleep, he is always aware, not only I am awake, my awareness is awake, everybody's awareness is equally awake to notice that mind is sleeping. Every mind is sleeping, but awareness has never gone to sleep. That's why, Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrati sanyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sanisha pashyato munihi. A person who is awake to this nature, he is ever aware of the fact that space of consciousness is present, fully alert, while others are sleeping. While others are awake and then going about in this world with all other vyavahara bhumi, he is close to that. He is become withdrawn from that. This Shabdamaya Vrata Jagat, that is, people are very, very busy with that. Shabdamaya Vruto Naiva Tamasa Yati Pushkare. Tamasa Shabdamaya Avrataha. Pushkare na yati. Atmani na Atmanam na janati. Binne Tamasi. Avidya Nashe. ekatvam that oneness alone anupashyati. Ekatvam eka eva anupashyati. Interestingly is one see the one alone as the unity. Now interesting thing is, if aham atma, if by nature, by essence is Brahman, where is the question of unity? See, though when I say the part, when it is broken, the inside space has merged with the outside space. When the part is broken. Before that, it is not one. Huh? One or not? So why is it that you are saying then it's getting united to the self, united to the Brahman? That is from the standpoint of the transactional reality. So as though that's why earlier also it is said, Sanaiva sadhakaha na muktaha. There is no sadhak, there is no mukta, because one who has a misunderstanding aham baddhaha, I am bound, alone is feeling himself released from the so-called bondage. I often tell this particular illustration or give. So one person was standing and shouting at the top of his voice. There is a wall in front of him. There is a wall on the right side, wall in the left side. Above is wall, above is the ceiling, below is the floor, and he was shouting, I am now in a prison. Oh, somebody please help me to get out of this. I do not see any way to get freed from this whole cave or the cell I am in. And he was shouting and crying. Then there was a tap on his shoulder. Hey, who are you? Why are you crying? I am now caught in this cell. I know how to come out. Okay. If that is the case, how did I come in? If you are caught in the cell, but I came in, right? So, yeah, how did you come in? You never looked behind. When you looked behind, it was open. Now, will you say, I got my freedom? When? When did you get your freedom? Did you get your freedom or you thought that you are bound? So when somebody thinks that he got the freedom without looking at the back behind, which was already open, but he always felt that he was only looking, he was already always bound because he's only looking there on the other side, except within. Here behind means within. So when he says, now I am free. Earlier, what was it? So when Ramana Maharshi was asked, what about your past? Why do you talk about the foolishness? Because at that time, I did not know that I am free. Not that I got the freedom now. Earlier also, I was free only. But did not know it. Dashamosmi. Dashamosmi, the 10th man I am. When did you realize? When I forgot that forgot to count myself. Now that suddenly 10th man was created. So here also, binne tamasi, meaning on the destruction of avidya, misunderstanding, non-recognition, ekatvam, oneness, eka eva anupashyati. Twice is written, ekatvam, eka. Eka, only one is there. And he says that oneness. Again, ekaji vata hai. I am all by myself alone. There is nothing that can be. If I am all by myself, what can bind me? You are in the middle of an island where you alone as a human being. Whom will you fight with? I am misunderstanding with this lion, These monkeys, I am having having an emotional trauma with this monkey. So when you are all by yourself, where is a question of fighting with anybody? So, tatra ko moha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. Where is moha and shoka for a person who has seen only one? Now, the 16th verse is about a sadhana. This also earlier also mentioned, but it is reiterated here. That is unavoidable, as Gurudev would say, to repeat a point. Arthavada, it is called. Its repetition of an idea is only re-emphasize this. You must all do the exercise of upakrama, upasamhara, arthapati. Arthapati, actually, it is arthapati. Arthapati, not arthavada. Arthapati, yeah, repetition. That is punapunaha katanam. Again and again repeating a point, it is only to emphasize it. Now you see, Shabdaksharam param brahma tasmin kshine yadaksharam tadvidvan aksharam dhyayet yadi chet shantimatmanah. Shabdaksharam param brahma tasmin kshine yadaksharam tadvidvan aksharam dhyayet yadi chet shantimatmanah. Shabda aksharam, the Om. Earlier also we have seen that. Swarena sandayet yokam aksharam bhavayet param aswarena anubhavena bhavo abhava ishyate, it is said. Here it is Shabda aksharam param brahma. Shabda aksharam, the akshara which is earlier, interesting thing is Shabdamaya vrutaha is said. The whole world is filled with only sound. Every form has got a sound or a name with which only we recognize its the nature or the presence distinguishing itself from other. But again, with the same sound only you have to start. What? Shabdaksharam. Param Brahma. That supreme reality is also pointed out with the Shabda, which is called Om. And Tasmin Kshine, Shabdasya Kshine, when the Om utterance has come to a point of no utterance, which is called Ajaba. Japa and Ajaba. Japa is to repeat, Ajaba is to stop that. But you cannot stop it for the sake of stopping. Whereas Om you chant, and then after chanting, before you chant again, there is Ajapa. Not chanting. That is where the sound is stopped, silence is prevailing, and again you start the sound again. Again silence, again the sound, again the silence, again the sound, again the silence. Now, with this we can understand sound, silence, sound, silence, sound, silence. Now, you take a thought, Om, along with the Om, think of the form of Om in your mind. As you make the sound, Om, take the form of this Om also in your mind as a thought. And make sure no other thought is coming at that point. As you chant Om, only that form of Om should be there in your mind. So take that form in your mind along with that Om. And then when you stop the chanting, stop the form. Blank. You may not be able to stay there for too long. Again start Om. The Om form will come along with the sound. Then stop the Om. Form will disappear. So this is what Tasming Shine. When that Om form, not the sound alone, along with the sound, the form also should stop to come to the stillness. So silence in the mind as the silence of the sound, stillness of the mind. Meaning no thought arises. There is an absence of thought. Even if it is a fraction of the moment, you are able to reach a point of no thought. And do not say, I have no thought now. Don't. This will become habit. You say, I know, I have no thought. And that will become a thought. So bring a point of no reference to any thought. Don't describe it. Don't talk about it. Don't comment on it. Again, it will not stay too long. Again, oh. So if you can bring that point of attention with that stillness, that is called Aksharam. Aksharam means what? It doesn't decay. So this is a word play here. Aksharam is a word or a letter, not word. Aksharam is a letter. Om is a letter. One letter only actually it is. But we're having three different sounds. One letter arising there, taking you to a point of a form, and then upon bringing that end of the thought, it becomes that consciousness which is Aksharam, which is always there. It never goes away. But because of our association with the thought, we don't pay attention to that Aksharam. That's why he says, Tad Vidwan Aksharam Dhyayet. Knowing that, Tad Vidwan Aksharam Dhyayet. Pay attention to that Aksharam, which is present when there are no thoughts. Undecaying presence. If you want, why do you need to do that? Yadi chet, if you desire, Atmanaha Shanti. Shanti Atmanaha. Swami ji, peace nahi mil raha hai. Shanti nahi mil raha hai. Our problem is that we are looking for Shanti from something else. भगवान शांति दे दो, आपके पास ही है. He only smiles. And why you are foolishly asking me this question? What are you looking for? So silence between the two sounds of Om, we have seen. Swarena Sandayet Yogam, Aksharam Dhyay. Right? Now, this recognition of this Om as the sound symbol representing the self, but with the utterance of the sound, also bring the thought of Om only to stop both the sound and the thought. Otherwise, what happens? Om, 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 Om. Your mind is going somewhere else. Om, 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 Om. I have to cook also. Today is eggplant or what? Bangan ka bartan. So where are you? What are you doing? Home is for what? Home, 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 home. It's only home, not home. आप गृहस्थ नहीं है इसलिए आप ऐसा कह रहे हो. तुम गृहस्थ बन जाओ, बदलता जाएगा. So griha, the other day also saying that griha is graha. You know, graha means holding on. Grahanam. Grahanam means to hold on. We are all grahastha. You're holding on and on and on. Not griha. Griha means house. Graha. That's why grahachar. Graha. So the planetary positions are not good, for me. Not grahacha, grahacha. Now see, what will really have peace is that which is always there, all by itself. That which is eternal alone can have peace. That which is temporary can never be at peace. Atmanaha shantim yadi chet, if you desire to gain that supreme peace of the self, then hold on to that which is always there. That which is constantly changing, if you hold on, you will never get peace. What you will get? Pieces. With eternality, you get peace. With externality, you get pieces. So, external peace is only incidental. Eternal peace is essential. So that is why in the that state of one, of the quietness, stillness within, is referred in Mandukya Upanishad as Chaturtham, the fourth. The fourth because it is not waking, it is not sleep, it is not dream. You are awake and not gone into the state of dream of imagining in your own mind, nor you had fallen into the state of tamas, of sleep. So you are transitioning from waking, not to dream, not to sleep, but bring the mind to an absolute standstill. There is no vikshepa or avarana. Vikshepa will make you to wake up again. Avarana will make you to go to sleep again. So without that vikshepa and avarana, one has to bring a point of mind, point of attention, where the thought has stopped, new thought has not arrived, but at that small fraction of the moment, you are present as the fourth state of consciousness. That's why it says in the Mandukya Upanishad, it is given as Amatra Chadurto Avyavaharya. Amatra. Matra means these three, right? Amatra, Umatra, Ummatra. Amatra is waking, Umatra is dream, Ummatra is sleep. Amatra. Amatra means neither waking, nor dream, nor sleep. Amatra Chaturtha. Fourth. Avyavahara. There is no transaction there. There is no interaction with anyone. Nor even your mind is interacting with any other thought, or it is not bringing any other memory. So at that point of stillness, don't even say, I think I am Brahman. Then you have to start referring. What is that verse? Then you are gone. You are moved out. Do not bring, even though you know the memorized all the shlokas, don't bring anything there. You may remember later on, but not at that point. I think this is Shankaracharya has defined something else. What is Brahman? Finished. Gone. Your mind is capable of pulling you out. Amatraha chadurtaha avyavaharyaha. And prapancha upashamaha. Where prapancha, the world, has become upashamam gacchati. There is no world of any kind, either thoughts or emotions or any feeling. Amatra chadurto avyavaharyaha prapanchopashamaha shivaha advaitaha evam onkara atma eva. As the pure auspicious presence, Shivaha advaitaha onkaraha atma eva. Sambishati enters. Atmana Atmanam, by oneself, by oneself. By oneself means what? Without any other aid. Now, if you say, get up, if you are healthy, you don't need a support. Otherwise, you have to get up with all other external support. Because a physical body, if it is not healthy, it cannot get up. It needs, of course, as we age, the physical body loses the ability to, pick up itself. You need external support to get up, etc. In the same way, here the mind, the awareness, when you are in that state, you are not having any other support to be there. Atmana Atmanameva Sambishati. Atmanam Sambishati, enters into the self. Ya evam Veda. He who knows this. Atmatra Chadurto Avyavaharyah Prapanchopashamaha Shivaha Advaitaha Evam Omkarah Atma eva sambishati atmana atmanam evam Veda. This is the last verse of Mandukya Upanishad. And then, of course, Karika goes on to explain all this. Now, I'll talk about this particular aspect in the next class, about how to recognize this Chaturtha Avastha, or the fourth state, which is called Turiya. Turiyam Chaturtham Manyante. So we'll talk about that before we go to the 17th. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. All right. Next week